Hello, my name is Leonard Network. I was born on these two amazing parents. I'm the third born. I was born in Gitega in a very small village called Nyagonga. Just like any other Burundian family, the 1993 civil war affected my family too. So around January 1997, my dad left the country and headed to Tanzania. But the plan was that he would come back and get us. So when he left in January, he came back in March and got us, and we headed to the refugee camp. I was a little boy. I can't remember nothing. All that I know is what my parents told me about. It took us about a week for us to get in the refugee camp named Mtabira. I remember my mama say that we spent almost 3 weeks at the transit office, and so we're there for about 3 weeks, and then, but before we relocated to where we're supposed to live in the refugee camp. So we got there, and then we were staying in a refugee camp for almost like a month. For some reasons I don't remember, my parents decided to leave and relocated in a different refugee camp named Nduta. And that was the same year, 1997. We lived in Tanzania for about 13 years. It was just bushy, there were no very many houses because the refugee camp was still new. Started my education there, my preschool up to primary 5 to 2008. When I tell people that I remember sitting on a rock, like, because we didn't have no classrooms, you know what I'm saying? So I remember sitting under a tree, seated on a rock, and using a charcoal to write on a box, or a dry cassava. So when I tell people that I used to do that, like, people be like, you acting like you're born in 1760s something. But the whole story is we don't have the same opportunities. Today, there are people that are still living almost in 1918 right now as I talk, because we don't have the same opportunities. So we come from different backgrounds, and we go through different challenges, and so the opportunities that I might have, someone doesn't. So it was tough, but anyway, I attended school. I did my preschool and finished my primary, and up to primary 5, and that was 2008. We didn't have classes in the beginning because we just got in the refugee camp, and so many organizations have not yet come through. So, but after some time, UNICEF and other organizations started coming in, and they started building classes. So in 2008, my parents decided to leave the country and headed to Burundi. How challenging it would be for me to come back in a country that I had no memory of, a country that was foreign to me as a teenager. So when we got here, I was excited in the beginning because, you're coming in this is a whole new chapter in life. One, I'm meeting new people, of which I was excited about. And I wasn't happy because I wasn't sure if I would go back to Tanzania. I happened to ask my mom that question, if I ever go back in Nduta camp, because the place was very vibrant. You grew up, you grow up in the environment, so many different people, and it's a community that has so many different people from different cultures and different background, different countries. So it was a hard situation for me to cope up with the whole situation coming back to Burundi, because I think my parents' expectation we got here, or before we got here, was that, the family members would be very happy to see us back and stuff like that, but it wasn't actually the case. We got here and people thought we're kind of better than them. It's funny that they would think that we're better than them because we're refugees, man. So why would you think that we'd be better than you simply because we were living in the refugee camp and the United Nations has been taking care of us? That was very funny, and it doesn't make any sense for me now. Back then, I didn't think about it, but now that I'm grown, I'm like, man, what was at the back of their minds? So it was tough coming back, in a situation like this with our family members, like my uncles, my aunties. Everything happened for a reason. I always say, I don't want to take any challenge as a negative situation. I want to be able to learn from whatever that happens. You know what I'm saying? Because I believe that can build me to be a better man tomorrow. Schooling, I continued my primary 5 because that's where it stopped before we came back to Burundi. Surprisingly, I was really doing well. They were supposed to be doing much better than me because I didn't receive a good educational background or foundation. And they had the better one. Yeah, it's in a village, but however, I feel like they had the best one compared to what I had. I was doing well in class, but unfortunately, I didn't complete my pre-5. There were some family challenges because when we just got here, the United Nations supported us for the first 6 months before we could get on our feet. But my parents are very hardworking people. I'm very grateful for them and how much they have struggled over the years to raise us. They did their best, and I'm very grateful for them. So I dropped off the primary 5 and started hustling. I headed to Gitega town as a teenager looking for a job because I wasn't really ready to be going back to school and then come back home and I can't find some food. It was hard, that I would come back from school and I would have nothing to eat. So after some time, I started losing interest, and yet I was the best student. You know what I'm saying? But the whole point is you can't focus. Your mind can't be focused if nothing in your stomach. Of course, it doesn't work either way. So it was really tough for me. I decided to leave. I started to leave school. My parents did not disagree with my decision. As a teenager, when you're a teenager, whatever you think about makes sense, even when it's wrong. I remember my mom saying, no, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't leave school. I know it's hard, I know we're going through a lot as a family, but you need to be patient. Probably tomorrow gonna be better. So the moral of the story is, what our parents tell us might not make sense. We don't want to hear them talk to us about these things. What they tell you doesn't make any sense, but it's actually real. But you come to realize it after some time. So I did listen to my mom, so I flunked out of school and I started looking for a job in the city. So very excited, in the city. I remember I was selling airtime. I was working for someone. I was selling airtime and cigarettes. So I did that for about a month or 2 months. And actually that's when I started smoking. What pushed me to start smoking was because people would come and buy. They light it from there, and I can feel this, the smell was nice, and I wanted to try it out, and then I did it. But I didn't do it for that long, because after some time, I met somebody that I knew from the refugee camp, and this person was like, hey, what are you doing over here? I'm like, I'm doing nothing. I dropped out of school. I've been working for this person, but for some reasons I'm not working with them. How much were you being paid? I was being paid 10,000. Actually, it was 6,000 biff. 6,000 Burundian biff. That was in 2009. That means I was being paid 200 biff a day, and I was opening the shop at 5 a.m., closing the shop midnight. Why? Because they had a bar over there, so I had no reason for me to close the shop before the bar is closed, because I would wait until the last person leaves the bar. So it was tough. Can I take you to Bujumbura? He said. I was very excited because, wow, capital city. Ooh, as a teenager, that was a whole amazing, like, success. I feel like, yeah, if we can get to Bujumbura, I got this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got it. So he asked me what you, like, he was like, get back home, talk to your parents, get ready, get your stuff ready, and then come tomorrow. So in my heart, I was like, what are you talking about? I'm literally moving my entire property. You know what I'm saying? I had 2 clothes. Like, I'm like, yo. But I was just saying that in my heart. But, I cooperated and I was like, yeah. So I went back to my village and I spoke to my mama and like, oh, I met so-and-so. And she was like, oh, nice. She said, good luck, my son. The following day, I left. I remember I had one shirt that my cousin gave me. I had one trouser that my dad gave me. It was blue. The trouser itself was bigger than me because it was for my dad, plus the one shirt I had that my cousin gave me. The following day, I left. I had no slippers on me. I had nothing on my feet. I moved barefooted since my childhood up to 14 years old. Since my childhood up to the age of 14. That's when I got my first pair of flip-flops. Yeah. So that day, I left and headed to Gitega to meet this gentleman that promised to take me to Bujumbura and find me a school. And if he could not find a school, he would take me, he would give me a job. I slept at his place and I was working for him for about 3 weeks, and then he was working on his paperwork heading to Australia, so he headed to Australia, and then I had to go back to my village. That was tough for me as a teenager, going back to the village, to that life of, all you're eating is 2 potatoes, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and sometimes you don't have it. It was hard. Everybody can relate. As a young teenager, all you want to do is go hustle and find a better life. That's what men do. However, another gentleman that I knew from the refugee camp, this pastor called me back and was like, hey, I heard you're going back to the village. And they're like, oh, you need to come back over here. I think I got something for you. I started working in construction sites, carrying bricks and doing all that, all jobs. And after about 3 months, the contract, I think, ended and I lost the job. I think he sat back and started thinking that, hey, this young boy, he's still young. Let me see what I can do. So he asked me to come back, and I had to go find my report in the village, and I came back to Bujumbura, and he helped me out, and I got back to school. Now, I had to repeat my primary 5 again. So that means I did my primary 5 3 years. I was very excited because I remember, coming back from work, I'm very dirty and stuff, and I'm seeing other kids coming back from school, and I look at them and I'll feel bad because in my mind, I had no hope. I felt like I had no hope because I'm not in school. Look at other kids, look at the young, the same, like my age mate. I'm going to school, I'm working on this, and I'm working with people that are older than me who are trying to provide for their own families. And I'm still a teenager. So in my spirit, I felt I belonged there, just that I didn't have the opportunity to be in school. But thank God, this gentleman helped me out. I got in school, he provided whatever I needed for my schooling, and I did my primary 5. I did my national exam in primary 6, and then when I finished my primary leaving examination, heading to high school, I was supposed to head back to the village according to what the gentleman was telling me about. I think he had some, challenges, just like any other man, just like any other family. Resources cannot really be that easy, especially when you have 3, 4, 5 kids. And so, but I'm very grateful for how far he was able to push me. So as I was getting ready to head back to the village, I got a scholarship. So I got a scholarship, and this scholarship was what pushed me through my entire high school. That was a whole game changer. So imagine reaching a point where you are not seeing ahead. Remember when I just got in primary 5, I could see now. I could clearly see my tomorrow. But now I'm finishing primary 6, I'm heading high school, and everything is blocked. And then all of a sudden, I see God opening up a door, and I got a scholarship. So I headed to Rumonge, and that's where I did my senior 1. So I did my senior 1 in Rumonge and came back in Bujumbura and did my senior 2 and senior 3. That was around 2015. In Burundi, there was some, political instability. So they shut down. We were not studying for about 5 months, and I left the country. I left the country and headed to Uganda. So I headed to Uganda in 2015, September. I joined this school, St. Lawrence Academy Schools and Colleges. So I joined St. Lawrence Academy Schools and Colleges, one of the biggest boarding schools in Uganda. International boarding school. The people were so welcoming. The people were so welcoming. The school, was so welcoming to international students. It was just nice. It was just amazing. Great teachers, great administrators. It was nice. I enjoyed, sports. I didn't play too much of soccer, but I was a rugby player. I loved rugby so much. I didn't know about it because I didn't see none in Burundi. So when I got to Uganda, so like the administrators and some friends who were in charge of sports in school, they looked at me. They're like, "Hey, you can be good in this game." Yeah, I'll give it a shot. I had no idea how it would look like. I had no idea what this game was like, but I joined the club, and yeah, it was fun. It was fun. So I played rugby for quite some time, and I started playing a little bit of basketball. But my game was rugby. I enjoyed history. I was a good history student. Shout out to my teachers, my history teachers, Madame Esther Namutebi. Thank you so much. She was an amazing teacher. She used to teach me history of East Africa. Shout out to Gamusha, yes, Gamusha Alex. Mr. Gamusha Alex was an amazing teacher. He taught me European history. So he was teaching paper 3, and he was an amazing teacher. Those were some of my favorite subjects. I loved entrepreneurship. Yeah, these were my major subjects I really enjoyed. I loved them because they required me having discussions with other students. There are subjects that there are subjects that require a lot of discussions for you to be able to understand them. And for me, that was like my game, you know what I'm saying? So I enjoyed that really a lot. I enjoyed that. So, and it was so much fun. I learned so much in discussing than spending so much time in class and listening to my teachers, but that was just me. And that's why I feel like I remember my history teachers than even anyone else. So, yeah, but all of them were great teachers. Physics, they were all great teachers. So I graduated my, high school certificate in history entrepreneurship. So I returned in Burundi 2020. That's when I got back in Burundi. what is life after high school. You know what I'm saying? I'm grown up now. My scholarship only pushed me for high school, and so I had to now start finding my way out. How do I, dive into the world? It's all on me now. I'm an adult. I'm a young adult, and I gotta find my way out. I have to find how I'm going to live. I have to find how I'm being able to support myself and probably support my brothers. So I try to find a job, of which wasn't really that easy. It's never easy anyway. But I'm not that kind of person that can just sit back and relax. I always have to find something that keeps me busy. If I'm not getting cash, at least let me get some knowledge, let me get some experience. I can't miss out everything. I'd rather miss money but have experience, learn something, because what I learn now can be an income generating, situation tomorrow. I found myself opportunities to serve in different humanitarian organizations. For example, Help a Child Burundi. Thank you to whoever they give me an opportunity. I served with orphanages, churches. I just always want to find myself get busy with something, and it always felt very nice to serve the people because that makes me feel like I'm giving back to the world. I grew up in a refugee camp. I lived all this life, and I've seen people support me and help me out. So it was nice coming back and I have the opportunity to go and work in humanitarian organization like Help a Child in partnership with a WFP. I remember there was a project to distribute food to the displaced people in Chibitoke and Bubanza and Gatumba. What a great opportunity, what a great chance for me to give back to the community. And one of the major lessons that I've learned is that everything happened for a reason in this life. There's nothing that just happened by accident. And we've got to embrace every opportunity that we get in our daily lives. Handle every situation with a positive mindset. It might be hurting now, but it might be preparing you for something great. Regardless of all these things that I went through, refugee life and coming back to Burundi and all the challenges as a teenager and going back and having the opportunity for the scholarship and going to Uganda and coming back here, I've learned so many lessons that I feel have really shaped me into the person that I am today. And the way I think and the way I do things and the way I operate every single day. And I always say there's always an opportunity for me to learn something new. And so that's why I don't take any situation I don't take it for granted. And it's on that note that I'm here to introduce you to the LEONARD Network. Is an amazing platform where I'm going to be sharing with you so many different amazing stories of so many different people, because I believe that these stories, the life experiences that so many different people in different, aspects of life go through can really help us, can teach us in a whole different way. And I value learning from what people have gone through, the experiences, the stories, the challenges they went through. Through the LEONARD Network, I believe we can learn together, teach each other, inspire each other, motivate each other, and grow together. And so to be the best versions of ourselves for the better of our community, for the better of our country, for the better of the world. I am Leonard Savukonhidze.